All right, so to start out with, this is my 2001 BMW 330 Ci. It's an E46 chassis. I got it for $3,500 in 2019. Right now, these cars are sitting about the same. Mine was pretty mint when I got it. I have wrecked the car, so not every body panel is original anymore, and it is stripped out. It's probably, I don't know, it's kind of a clapper now, but it's a drift car, so fuck it, we ball, y'all. So to start out with, I'm gonna give y'all a rundown of how much everything costs, how much everything costs to do, and how much time it takes. It's pretty simple. These cars are pretty simple. I'm gonna start out with the outside. This is a factory 330 Ci hood. I had to replace it, so that's $100 bucks. I did wreck this car, like I said. I got some M4 style grills, like the F80. Those were like 20 bucks on eBay, and I just painted the triple stripe because that shit is ugly as fuck. We got a lip for a factory bumper. So this is a factory 330 bumper with a lip added to it. That's all it is. It's not an M Sport. It's not an M anything. It's just a factory bumper with a lip. You see them. Not too many people do that, to be honest. I like the way it looks better. I started out as an M3 bumper guy, but I like the factory one with a lip. So that's probably, I think I was $110 for that off eBay. Next thing, I got some hood pins. These hood pins are like $100 for the set. They're not in right now because I just packed the car up, but they work pretty good. Yeah, you know, hood pins. Next up, we got some Style 68s. I run 250/50s in the front or 215/50s in the front. And then I have a 25mm spacer with extended studs and a stud swap, because the factory, they have lug bolts, they don't have lug nuts, so you have to do a stud conversion to be able to have lug nuts. I do that with a 25mm spacer because that is the perfect size to get fitment for my angle kit, because it does have an angle kit. Moving on towards the back, most of this car is stock body. I do have this K2 Industries roof wing, which was I think 180 bucks. Then I have a little duckbill spoiler over here as well. We can move on to the inside now. And then I also have a fire extinguisher mount. That's like 30 bucks. So yeah. We have NRG Prisma 5-point harnesses. They're $190 each. And then to mount that to, you can either get a bar across the side, which is about 200 bucks, or you can go the route that I did and get a cage. A nice weld-in cage will run you about $800 to $1,200 depending on what welder you go to and how good they do it. You can paint it for another probably 50 bucks worth of paint, so let's say $1,000 for the cage. It was $850 for me with paint to get this cage welded in. This is the inside of the car. It is budget minded, so a lot of this stuff is pretty entry level. To start out with, I do have a Chase Bays hydraulic handbrake. The full set for an inline set is probably going to run you about $600 with all the lines and everything. And then if you want to do, which I'm going to do this next, a dual caliper kit, it's probably going to run you about $1,600 for everything. So for calipers, brackets, hydro, lines, that'll cost about $1,600. I'm doing that soon because this is an inline setup and it was very bad. Next, we have a Condor Speed Shop E46 short shifting kit. That's like, I think $250 is how much I paid for it. Then I have a Momo steering wheel, which is $250. It's a 6-volt pattern with a NRG quick release. So NRG quick release is like $150, and then the hub to mount it to the E46 is 98 bucks. So that's like $450 for that setup. Moving on to the seats. These are NRG Prisma Ultra seats. They are a large. They are $350 each, so $700 for the pair. And then I'm using a set of planted E46 seat brackets, which they just mount straight up to the seat, and that's $115 each. You got to get a passenger and a driver, so probably about $900 for the full setup. So on the inside of the car, it has piano black trim that I got from one of my parts cars, which is pretty hard to find. I think it'll run you $200 to $300 for a nice condition set. I also have a beautiful AEM AFR ratio gauge. So that's to measure my air fuel ratios at the track. We are going to move under the hood. This is a 3-liter aluminum block, aluminum head engine. It's dual cam and dual variable valve timing. Make probably about 225 from factory, but after losing some horsepower over the years and mileage, it probably makes like 205 to the wheels. If you do some mods, they're pretty, you can make them probably about to 250 in A. That's with full bolt-on and tune. But they're pretty stout little motors. I've put 10K miles worth of track use on this thing, and I've abused the shit out of it. And it hasn't done me wrong yet. It's a really good engine. Thing I did was catless headers. If you're in an emissioned county, I live in a non-emission county, and they don't have state inspection, so I can get away with this. But I think they cost $180 off eBay, and I sold the stock cats for $350, so a nice little profit off of doing that. I also have a M strut tower brace. I got it off, I don't know where I got it from, but it was like $180. Then I also have Godspeed coilovers. They're pretty good for me. A lot of people talk shit about them, which I believe if you daily them, they're probably pretty bad, but I haven't done a lot of, I haven't drove on them too much, so I don't really care about the ride quality. They work pretty decent. They're adjustable height and they're adjustable camber. That's all I need. I'm running 7.5 degrees of camber. I have E46 control arms that have been extended and welded because I have a angle kit. The angle kit is a SLR mini kit it comes with tie rods and knuckles. So you can get a lot of adjustments out of those. My specs is a 1/4 inch of toe out, 7.5 degrees of camber, and 6.5 degrees of caster. A Chase Bays Vanos oil feed line, that's like $80. Then I have a Chase Bays power steering system. I would not recommend Chase Bays, honestly. I've used a lot of their products on this car, and I've had to replace them with factory stuff because they leak and they just fail so often. The finish is really, really nice, and the fitment on mounting locations is perfect, but anywhere else it doesn't really work all that too good. A set of Mishimoto upper and lower radiator hoses because I kept blowing the stock ones off. It was probably due to incorrect bleeding procedure, but I fixed that since then, and I fixed all the cooling system parts. When you get one of these, make sure you replace the thermostat, water pump, radiator, and the fan, because those stuff, they will all go bad. I've had every single one of them go bad in different scenarios, so just go ahead and replace it, bite the bullet. The whole kit's probably about $600 to do it right and to do it the best and easiest way. Just bite the bullet and replace it first thing. I also have a set of Bavarian Autosport ignition coils. I think it was $300 for the full set of 6, but one of them shot out on me at the track, so I went and got another one from AutoZone. So we're running the Duralast for today. I have this BMW Performance Air Intake. They are super rare, and I've only found like 2 of them online. I got this at a junkyard for free. The guy just gave it to me. He said I could have it. So free for me, probably like $580 if you buy one off eBay or something. You can look for it. I did replace the clutch in this car with I think it's like a Clutch Masters or some shit. It's whatever the one that comes with the blue pressure plate on Amazon is. That's like $300, and I've ran it in this car and my E46 up there. And dude, they're perfect, man. You can't really beat it. It's like $400, and I'd recommend using a OEM pilot bearing and throwout bearing, but you do that, new throwout bearing, new pilot bearing, a stainless steel clutch pivot pin. It'll set you back probably $600 to do a full transmission service if you're replacing the clutch, which you probably will if it's a drift car. And yeah, that's about it for real. For it will eventually be a turbo kit. Just gonna run M54 with a turbo kit and reinforced subframe. But yeah, that's my 330 drift build. Let me know if y'all like it.